All right, thank you. We're going to go talk to a black Republican.
What?
Ross.
All right.
What do you mean? How about
You're the guy?
Yeah.
Thank you, Kenny.
A black Republican. My God.
Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah, well, as you know, I'm one of the few black Republicans in a family full of liberals. I've gone to schools filled with liberal Democrats. And, you know, I kind of feel a little like Anthony does. I think as I get more and more educated and as I make more and more money, I start to, you know, resent taxes. I basically, you know, I noticed right away, like you're talking about Reverend Al and this more. I don't know if you mentioned Harry Reid and what he said about the Hispanics, about how I don't.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let me explain something. And it kind of is in play with how white people on the right wing felt about Barack Obama when all the blacks voted for him, like 99%. And the thing about it is, blacks see him as representing them. And as a Democrat, most black people are born right into the Democrat Party. They don't know why they're Democrats. If you really talk to them, like, they wouldn't be able to explain to you why exactly they're a Democrat unless they've gotten to college or unless they've gotten to grad school. Then they can explain to you why they're a liberal or why they're a conservative. And I think the more educated they get, they're going to be fiscally conservative. And I think they're also going to, you know, depending upon their religion or how much they believe in God, that's how they're going to sway abortion or, you know, pro-life. That's what, it depends how strong you are there or in the other place. Now, okay, as for Reverend Al Sharpton, black people have absolutely no radio that represents them as a whole over the entire country. The problem with blacks is the church has represented them since post-slavery. So when you used to have somebody who's like a reverend, whether it's Jesse Jackson or whether it's Al Sharpton, they have to seriously say something stupid or put their foot in their mouths in order for people to stop believing in them. Jesse Jackson fucked up and said, oh, I would like to castrate Obama. Right after that, I noticed every single black liberal I knew turned on Jesse Jackson and said, you know, I don't want to hear anything from this idiot anymore.
Well, you know what else he said, too, besides Hymietown, which he was forgiven for, is he said he's talking down to niggas. He said that. And even
exactly.
And this was after targeting Imus and all these other things. And Fox didn't even kill him for that. They didn't even replay that like they should have.
No, but understand something. The reason why Fox didn't say anything about it was because we were already on him for it. They didn't say anything about that because he was attacking Barack Obama. It's not only a color thing, but on top of that, it's a political thing, and on top of that, there's a religious aspect. Now, speaking of religion, the mosque, I live in New York City. Frankly, I don't have a problem with them putting a mosque. What pisses me off is the fact that 10 fucking years later, the World Trade Center hasn't been rebuilt.
Yeah,
it took 11 years. It took 11 years to build those buildings from nothing. And now I've got to deal with this fucking mayor. And I've got to deal with these other people who, you know, who own all that property and who are basically all hand in hand. And these people will not rebuild those towers.
Isn't that amazing?
Here's
It
my
took 10
question.
years to build the
Here's my
World Trade
question.
Center towers.
Here's my question. Why don't they do the democratic thing and allow the people to vote for whether or not there's a mosque and allow the people to vote for whether or not there's the World Trade Center?
Bloomberg doesn't like people voting for things. He likes just making up his own mind and you know, shit
and
like
I've
that.
got a problem with that. See, and you know, the problem is people are so poorly educated at this point that they're worried about fucking Snooki on Jersey Shore than they are about what's going on in the government.
Well, did you? So let me ask you a question too. Did you know you mentioned Harry Reid? Do you notice how this is the second thing he has said?
Yes, yeah, but okay.
And they don't target him the way they would with somebody else. He is allowed. He's given a pass.
Yep.
I understand where you're going with this, but understand something. Harry Reid is a Democrat.
Yep.
Harry Reid is on quote unquote our side.
Yes.
So if he's speaking for us, and I've seen this play because Harry Reid's comment, I can understand what he was saying when he was saying it. He's basically saying this: the Republicans and Fox News are hand in hand bashing Hispanics. So how the fuck could you be a Hispanic and want to be a Republican? That's all he's basically saying.
Right.
He can't say it in the language that I'm using right now because he would be attacked just for using, you know, for basically implying that all Hispanics should be Democrats in order to vote rather than be on the side of the Republicans.
But he's allowed the gift of context. Like, he's given the leeway of context because he's on the right side of most of the media.
Correct side.
The correct side, yes.
Yeah.
Right, but you know, Harry Reid also made a comment about Barack Obama. Oh yeah,
Yes.
About him being good or colored or something.
Yes.
I can't remember the exact comment. But the thing about it is, I take a look at one of my liberal uncles. When he heard that, he basically said, "Okay, yeah, I can understand what Harry Reid's saying." Now let me be clear. I understand what Harry Reid was trying to say. But if Sean Hannity said that exact same thing, he would have. You'd have had people angry at him. But it's only because he's on the Republican side, representing the conservatives. So you got to understand, it's not just a color thing. If Barack Obama was Alan Keyes, I wouldn't have voted for. I would have voted for Hillary over him, and I'm black. I could have. If Barack Obama was a Republican, and black people turned on the television and saw that at the Republican National Convention that the only thing in that crowd was a bunch of white people wearing cowboy hats like they did when they saw Sarah Palin standing there. If they saw that, then they'd say, wait a minute, this guy is not on our side. This guy's not black enough. The thing about it is that's exactly what you get with Alan Keyes. So you look at Alan Keyes. He throws his lesbian daughter out because she's a lesbian. Alan Keyes...
Did he really?
Yes, he did, because he threw his lesbian daughter out because he doesn't want gays in his house. And then on top of that, Alan Keyes was on television calling Barack Obama a radical communist. So right away, the first instinct is to say, oh, you're an Uncle Tom. Oh, you're a traitor. Right away, because, of course, it's not just about color. It's about us being in a political party and saying we're going to back up whoever says anything, regardless what they say. You know, and I was talking about the Muslim situation that right now with the mosque. You know, one of the things I hate about Islam is the fact that they recruit out of prison. And they take these black boys who've been put in prison. They take these Hispanic boys, too, because I have a Hispanic friend who just joined Islam. But they take these people out of prison, uneducated, and what they do is they give them the structure that they never had at home. They give them a structure, they give them a religious background, and all of a sudden you see people who would have been slinging crack rock, all of a sudden they're wearing kufis and they're praying and putting their head on the ground. Yeah, that's the name of it. It's just like the Jewish skull cap. What's that called?
Yarmulke.
Yeah,
you're going to get it. You're going to get a bad element if you're recruiting from the prisons. I understand that.
You know, when I was in college, I was surrounded by liberals. And the thing about it is, whenever I would speak and say, okay, I can understand what Newt Gingrich is trying to say, or I can understand what somebody's trying to say, right away I'm attacked, and they say, oh, well, you're just a right-winger or you're Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
But they look past this. You have to understand. Well, again, somebody said blacks don't think one way. They don't think one way. There are conservative blacks out there, and the Republican Party was the party of the black person simply
with Lincoln,
because the Ku Klux Klan was the radical wing of the Democrat Party. So why would you... Why nobody knows that because nobody knows their history. Martin Luther King was a Republican. I consider myself a Republican. But the problem is when the Dixiecrats took over, and all of a sudden you had the people who were in the Ku Klux Klan.
That element if you're recruiting from the prisons. I understand that.
You know, when I was in college, I was surrounded by liberals. And the thing about it is, whenever I would speak and say, okay, I can understand what Newt Gingrich is trying to say, or I can understand what somebody's trying to say, right away I'm attacked, and they say, oh, well, you're just a right-winger or you're Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
But they look past this. You have to understand. Well, again, somebody said blacks don't think one way. They don't think one way. There are conservative blacks out there, and the Republican Party was the party of the black person simply
with
because
Lincoln,
the Ku Klux Klan was the radical wing of the Democrat Party. So why would you... nobody knows that because nobody knows their history. Martin Luther King was a Republican. I consider myself a Republican. But the problem is when the Dixiecrats took over, and all of a sudden you had the people who were in the Ku Klux Klan start to migrate, and they start to go over to the Republican side. Black people saw that and they said, okay, we don't want to be there anymore. So automatically they're against it.
Yeah.
So why did you call?
I call every time every time you have a racial discussion, I want to talk.
Okay. Actually,
thank you,
Ross.
Thank you, Ross, so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
on radio.
Here's my favorite part of that clip.
Yes, exactly.
Was I had the gift of seeing Anthony's hand for 8 minutes hovering over the button.
Stuck on that button.
He now has arthritis.
Just waiting
Well, guys,
for a gap that I could hit that fucking button in.
we're gonna wrap up this discussion with Bobby Muslim. Bobby Muslim is on the phone. Bobby Muslim
From Mecca.
Welcome to the Opie and Anthony Show.
Reading the Quran, working on my iPad, drinking my coffee, wearing it too. You know, dude, just kind of, you know, you got the...
Oh, boy. He's trying.
Dude, what's going on, dude? It seems like something's going on over there.
Oh,
Dude, I'm just
You know
welcome
what,
over
dude?
here.
You throw down your prayer mat. Boom, you got your IED. You throw it in your backpack.
see, that's it.
That's how
Yeah,
you
there
do
you
it.
go, dude.
Yeah. But, dude,
You got your coffee and that other
Dude,
thing
you're
that sounds like
beheading
coffee.
Women, you're stoning them, dude.
What's the other thing? What do they wear? The goof?
A goofy.
A goofy and a
They
cup
put
of
on
coffee.
a goofy hat or something, right?
you know what, dude? She's got a burqa. Boom, the eyes you can see. Boom.
Dude,
Boom, it's the sound it makes when a truck drives over what we planted. Boom.
What a great potential bit this is.
I know, but he couldn't really pull
All
it
right,
off.
Bobby
We give you
Muslim,
a
thank you.
A for
Live
effort
from Mecca.
and an F for execution.
You didn't like the execution?
He stunk. God, boy, it just goes to show you how much a black Republican really wants to talk because he's got no one to talk to.
He's actually never talked that long
No.
without somebody walking away or going, shut up.
Uncle Tom, they calling him whatever.
He couldn't believe that we were being polite.
I know.
was right.
Well, that was wonderful.
I liked Alan Keyes, so I found that.
Mayor
Gerard's
Bloomberg's
daughter.
on TV.